that no beekeeper ever likes is the dead outs. Here in my area, we had a pretty harsh winter. I started a new job. When I went into fall and autumn, my bees were just doing gangbusters. Like I said, we had the coldest winter in history over here in Western Washington. We thought was gonna make it through the winter was my beehives, but they did not. They made it all the way into February, and then well, sometime just before February, because I was out here in mid-January when I had a chance, and after the hardest part, the coldest part of the winter, and I was able to put some fondant in these hives, and then these hives were doing really good, gangbusters. So I had a pretty good plan going into winter, so I thought I did. And my plan was going into the winter was in fall, I was just gonna pollen patties, protein, just keep these things hatch and brood, or keep them in a brood mode for just as long as I possibly could, even if that meant the queen was doing brood in December. So they had pollen patties on there. They had fondant, well, sugar. So it's feeding them sugar. Everything seemed to be working. Like I said, we had really cold winter. I came out in January after the cold snap. I mean, we had days and nights that were down into the single digits, and my bees were doing fine. And that was January 15th. I came down, or January 12th. I put fondant on them. I came back out here the first part of February. I think it was February 7th, and my hives were dead. So, beekeepers, we don't like to admit failures, but it is what it is. I think you learn more about yourself and more about your bees from failures than you do from your successes. I always believe that successes could be luck, but most of the time your failures are definite. Okay, so there are definite reasons why this hive and my other hives failed. Okay, now I've opened up a couple of my other ones already, and I have a feeling I know why they did. My plan going into winter may have worked too well, and my bees going through their resources too fast with big populations. I just didn't feed them hard enough. I have a feeling when I came down and I put the fondant on, see there's a little bit of sugar left up here. When I came down and I put the fondant on these, I have a feeling that I had caught it just, with how quickly they went through the fondant, and I probably caught them just before something catastrophic was going to happen in January. And like I said, I like using the Claus hive domes. I'm going to continue using them. They're not for commercial beekeepers, I understand that, but for just hobbyists like myself, there's a big advantage of being able to get in here and see inside the hive and see what's going on. So in the wintertime. So I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna see what we had going on in here. And I'm not gonna be kid gloves on this. I'm expecting there to be a lot of foundation, but it looks like there's a bee on there. There's some honey out to the sides here. Got a lot of uncapped honey. I don't know. So I can see that, hell, all through the winter time, they were building comb. And I do still have some capped honey here too. So there was some. Same here. I got more capped honey, but still more of this comb. So these guys were doing just what I wanted them to do, which is to build out the comb and make brood. I can see here there's nectar. Let's get in here. Okay, and there's my mite strips. So let's just pull this box off of here right now. So these here are actually the mite strips from my last mite treatment last fall. It's formic acid. You can use formic acid throughout the year. Now, one thing that I did notice in one of my other hives was that I had hornets. I had hornets in some of my other in some of my other hives, so that could be a little bit of a problem too. Let's see what we got here. Let's pop this up. Seeing some dead bees here. This is unfortunate because so there's still if there's stores on here, it's all off to the side, but everything down here is wow. Yeah, everything down here is pretty much empty frames. There is okay, well, there does seem it's just moisture. Let's get into this. Okay. Just a lot of, but a lot of these also have a lot of honey on them. Some of them capped honey. That seems about all I need to see in this one. Let's pull all this shit out. Let's take a look at these. Let's scoop up some here. And I have taken the cover and the casing off of these bees. Like I said, this was in February. We're now in the end part of April, first part of May here. Some plastic came off of these. They've been sitting out in the elements now for a couple of months with no protection on them. But this is a sad thing to see here. for some so looking at this at this hive, I do have a bottom board underneath that screen. So the last hive that I pulled apart, all the resources were gone. There wasn't any honey in the hive, and so and there was no fondant, no sugar. This one here, the fondant was gone, the sugar was gone. Both of these hives were gangbusters through mid-January until I put the fondant on. They had already made it through the toughest part of the winter. So and in the wintertime the hives were dry. So I'm not gonna say it was the hive doing. There's a couple of things that could have happened here. Either or, both of them are going to be my fault. One of the things that I think may have happened is, I don't know, that fondant was left over from last year. That fondant was left over from last year, so I'm just and I had it was out in the goat barn, stacked away on a shelf, but it hadn't been refrigerated, so I'm just kind of wondering if maybe there was a problem with the fondant. Could be I don't believe it's the mites. I don't believe it's mites. Like I said, I treated for mites several different times last year, and everything was good. I was within range of everything. The coldest part of the year, these bees were doing really well. either starved them out or I poisoned them. I gave them some kind of a the thing is when you get the cold weather and stuff, the bees have a tendency, they don't want to go to the outside frames. The fact that I have this here really strong, this is really strong here, so they were building comb late into the year, or they started building comb in December or something. This is all new comb here. This is actually, you can see where there's like regular honeycomb, and then it looks like they actually built out over, so there's like 2 layers deep here of drawn honey. Small cluster bees there. They're all up here in these. This is something I just noticed here too. I got 2 queen cups here, one here and one here. There's two queen cups there. Which has got me thinking again about this. So you got a bee here that's head first inside that. Look at this, right here. Right here's this is a swarm cell right here. An opened up swarm cell. You can see that right here. Right there. Crap. And that's been opened up. So there might be something totally different going on with this hive here. That queen cell's been opened up. Okay. Just gets me, maybe I ought to be looking for some eggs in here. See if there's any old larvae or something. All right, so as you saw on there, I was kind of surprised to see how much uh, honey was in that hive. Actually, there was more honey frames in that hive than when I had shut it up, and I shut them up in November. So sometime between November and mid-January, or to when the hive died out, um, they had made more honey. So I'm not sure where they went and they got it from, but they got it from somewhere and stored it up in those frames. Now, the thing that I did going into the fall is I kept pollen on them. I wanted these beehives. I wanted that queen to keep producing brood as absolutely as long as she would. And I think in the one hive that I had, and I mentioned it, that's what happened, and they went through the resources and starved themselves out. This hive here, I was surprised to see as much honey in it as I saw that was in there. It had me scratching my head, as you can see there, but then I had some clues as to what was happening there when I saw the queen cups, and then I saw the supersedure cell, the uncapped open supersedure cell, and that pretty much gave it away. We had the queen. Is the cat trying to get in here? For whatever reason, there was something going on with the queen, and they superseded the queen and made a new queen. And so I had an unmated queen in the hive, and ultimately the hive died because I had a queen that wasn't producing any brood. Queens will produce some brood throughout the winter, small amounts of it, but they will produce some brood throughout the winter. And I had a virgin queen in the hive, and I don't know when the supersedure took place, because winter bees, they do live longer than regular old bees, the regular old worker bees. So I don't know when the supersedure took place. It had to have taken place sometime between November and mid to late January. And ultimately, those bees just ended up puttering out and dying, and because I had a weak queen. My mite counts were all good going into fall and winter, and I didn't miss my mite treatments. I had my mite strips down and in there, and so honestly, that's the way I concluded. I had a superseded queen. I had a virgin queen in there, which weakened the hive, and it ultimately ended the hive. So that's the conclusion. A virgin queen. Next winter, I'll be a little bit more careful as to what's going on with that. I'm not really sure how I can prevent that, but I have a feeling that maybe I told you that we had a really bad winter this year, super cold, single digits. We had a lot of wind and a lot of stuff like that. I had the hives were wrapped up, so I'm not so sure about. Um, I'm not so sure why they would supersede her, unless the cold got to her, or she got sick in the hive, and they just decided at that point to make a new queen. But that's it. That hive, they superseded the queen, and the hive got weak, and the virgin queen. What can I say? Sad, no matter what it is. Anyways, platoon 3090. I am starting out again. I'm not gonna. It's discouraging, but we just pick it up where we left off. We learn from our mistakes and we keep on going. All right, over and out.